Hello and welcome to this episode of I Don't Know Jack About Parenting, where today I'm going to be talking about not having any excuses. No excuses.
So the big question is this: how are parents like us, who don't have a manual, who are doing the best we can, who feel as though we aren't enough, how are we going to raise healthy, happy children who we are proud of and still keep our sanity in that process? That's the question, and this podcast will give you the answers. My name is Ryan Roy, and welcome to I Don't Know Jack About Parenting, a podcast for parents who are being real with themselves.
Hey, welcome back to this episode of I Don't Know Jack About Parenting, where today I'm going to be talking about not having excuses or not allowing your kids to have excuses, or you yourself not making up excuses for your children. So I was having a dialogue with a dad recently, and I just kind of shared with him some of the challenges that we share at school, some of the things I've shared here on the podcast. He actually said, "Hey, I've been listening to your podcast. Good stuff." And I was like, "Hey, man, I really appreciate that." And he brought up the episode where my son got the Pokemon card taken away, and he's like, "Well, what happened there?" And I said, you know, there's so many lessons to be learned in this if we allow ourselves to learn the lessons. I said one of the ones is the young man who took the card had to, write a letter. I said, but even the letter, the kid doesn't know. He wrote the letter to the best of his ability, but in the letter, he justifies, gives a reason why he stole. And I go, it kind of bothers me from the background that I am, the coaching, that, I don't think it was proofread. I think he did the best he could. I don't think his parents read it. But even then, I don't know that they would catch the psychology of this, is when he verbalizes or actually writes down in black and white why he did it. He's like, I stole the card because I didn't have any good cards myself. Like, that almost makes it all right in his mind. And that excuse, verbalized and not addressed, allows this young man to believe that even though he did a wrong, there was a good reason to do the wrong. And the name of my coaching company, for those of you who don't know, and you can check it out, it's Justify or Just Do It. JustifyOrJustDoIt.com, or you can go to ryanroy.me. And, I don't allow my clients, when I hear them giving me reasons why they didn't do the things that they said that they want to do to be successful, I said, I'm not interested in the excuse or the reason that you're about to give me, because I don't want that to give you life. Are you going to do what you said you were going to do, yes or no? And you know the answer to that. If there's reasons you cannot, I don't need to know the reasons. I just need to know that you're not going to do it. And they're like, why are you being like this? And I said, because once you give it reason, when I call you next week or we talk next week, you're going to give me, well, I told you that this, and I just want to know whether you're going to get it done or not. And that alleviates them, and that lets them realize that they're making excuses for their inactivity in regards to their own goals, their own dreams, their own things that they want to accomplish in life. And that empowers them to stop making excuses and just do the things that they say they were going to do and that they want to do to be successful in their life. Same thing goes for children. My son had a sleepover. A friend of his slept over the other night. And in the dialogue, this young man, and it happened to be the father, right, that I was having this conversation with, he goes, just the other day, I said to my son something, and he gave me an excuse, and I was like, yeah, but that's not a good reason. I go, don't even allow him to say the reason. I go, because it makes him think that made it okay, when it doesn't matter what wrong he did or what he's justifying it in his mind. And it was interesting because he was over my house for a day. And this is kids. This is across the board. This is adults across the board. People just find themselves making up reasons or excuses as to why things aren't getting accomplished, and that hinders them from their own success. So don't think it's like, oh man, you picked on this guy's kid. No. So he and I are having a dialogue, and I'm trying to think what it was off the top of my head. I picture where we were. We were in my living room, and I said, oh, he whispered something into my son's ear, which meant he's like, hey, go ask your dad this. My son comes and he says, hey, my friend, I'm not going to use their names, my friend wants to know if we could play this game, Dad. And I was like, well, you can ask me. And he goes, well, no, he wants to play the game. I said, no, I'm pretty sure that you just whispered into his ear. My son doesn't lie to me. He goes, well, no, well, he wanted to play. So let me ask you a question. Did you just whisper into his ear to ask me to play the game, yes or no? Well, what happened was, I said, no, stop. Listen to my question, and the answer is either a yes or a no. And I said, did you or did you not, yes or no, tell my son to ask me to play those games? Well, no, stop. I'm going to ask you one more time, and if you can't answer the question, the answer to the question that you want answered is going to be no, which means you're not going to play the games, because you can't look me in the eye, person to person, man to man, and mind you, I'm looking at them at eye level. I'm not looking over them. I'm not being intimidating. I'm asking a simple question. That's it. So I'm going to ask one last time. Did you tell him to ask me to play the game? Yes. I said, so that's the end of it. After that, it's not he wanted to play also, or this wanted to play, or hey, he really wanted to do it. You asked. And then when I asked you, I said, no, you asked it. You said, no, he wanted to. I said, so you're out of integrity there, which means you're not telling a full truth. And I want you to be aware at this young age, young man, that that's unacceptable. So make sure that if somebody asks you a direct question, you answer it directly. Understood? Yes, sir. Later on in the day, I asked him a direct question. He answered it directly. I said, see, young man, you're a quick learner. Thank you so much for answering that question that way. No excuses, no BS, no nothing. Now, did it take a little time and energy to get that message across to him? Absolutely. Was it worth it? Absolutely, because I'm not going to have that dialogue with him anytime soon, but he understands that there are boundaries, there are systems, there are things that are expected of him as a young person, and excuses aren't going to get him where he wants to go. When I played high school volleyball my sophomore year, we had a bunch of scrubs, a bunch of guys who had talent hidden inside of them, but we were diamonds in the rough. And one of the things our coach used to break our huddles with in timeouts said, no excuses. We don't want to know why the ball hit the ground. We don't want to know why somebody was out of position. It's, I will correct that. That only happens once. No excuses. And that served us so much that even though we weren't the most talented team, I think we had the biggest heart and we didn't make excuses, and we won a championship. No excuses. Because when we give excuses and justifications and reasons, we're giving life to mediocrity. So where are you making excuses for your kids? Oh, he doesn't know how to put on his shoes yet. Oh, he doesn't know how to do this. He's too young, or she's too young. Or, I don't really expect them to know that yet. Hold your kids to a higher standard. Hold yourself to a higher standard. And watch these kids blossom and flourish. But that doesn't happen if we're continually making excuses for they're too young, they're too old, they're too thin, they don't like that food. You know, he doesn't eat healthy because he really doesn't like that stuff. That's an excuse. I don't care whether you like it or not. It's the right thing to do. I do not like taking vitamins. I think they're the most disgusting thing. I gag when I take my vitamins each day. Why? I don't like them. But I know they're good for me. Same thing with your kids. Whether they like things or not, it's the right thing to do. And we just need to do the right thing. No excuses. I don't know jack about parenting, but I know that when we give excuses, it hinders our children. We'll talk to you in the next episode.
Do you want to be the dad you wish you had? If so, go get my free book, Be the Dad You Wish You Had, at BeTheDadYouWishYouHad.com. Inside, you'll find my most effective 40 tips to quickly and easily transform yourself into the ideal dad. Go to BeTheDadYouWishYouHad.com now and get it while it's free.